Hi, I'm responding to your video. I want to let you know that I'm agreeing to disagree with your thought process. Um, but I will tell you what I agree with. I don't disagree with the whole thought process. I just disagree with certain aspects of it. Um, but I do agree that um, if you tell a child or pretty much a society, if you say, uh, gosh, people with brown hair and brown eyes are crazy people, and a whole society uh, buys into that philosophy, then people with brown hair and brown eyes would be outcast in the communities that they lived in. Um, I can cite many, many different areas in which um, things were taboo at some point, but now it is now acceptable in society. Um, let's say, let me try to think of something taboo. Uh, Women wearing their hair down was taboo in ancient times, and now it's acceptable for women to wear their hair down in most countries. Um, Women wearing pants and shorts was not acceptable for a very long time, mid-century. But now it is acceptable. It's not frowned upon. Um, Marrying women that were 14, 12, 14 was acceptable in the mid-century. And that is no longer acceptable in most countries. Um, Using women as a trade. So if I had, let's say I had something that somebody wanted, like a herd of cattle, but they couldn't pay for it, they would trade their daughters for that head of cattle. And that was acceptable, and it is still acceptable in some societies, but it's not acceptable in the society which I live. There's a lot of things that have been acceptable and are no longer acceptable, and there are things um, that were acceptable back in the day that are not acceptable now. Such as men beating on women was acceptable a long time ago, but it's no longer acceptable in most countries. But um, and the and women working was not acceptable for a very long time, but now it is readily acceptable for women to work, especially after having children. That's still acceptable. So as you can tell, we are conditioned to think and believe what we do and think. But it's a matter of willpower, I guess. If you want to disagree with something, you have the willpower, the ability to disagree. In the countries that we live in, that can access YouTube and other forms of expression, we have the ability to agree or disagree, and to voice our opinions without the fear of people coming to our houses and torching our houses and doing bad things. But for a long time in many countries, your opinion didn't matter. it was the opinion of the government that mattered. So let's take back a little bit and let's thank the fact that we can post our thoughts on YouTube and other avenues on the web. So so that's how I feel about that subject. Anyway, I didn't really touch on the subject, but I do agree with some of your philosophies.